All right. So we are recording. So let's see, present. Oh, wonderful. My internet connection's unstable. Okay, good. Let's just hope that we can make it through this. So last year at this time, I was just looking back through all my dates. So I had just gone Emerald. I had just become an Emerald coach. And I then went on to become Diamond in April. So I wasn't one of those just like super fast movers, Emerald first month, Diamond second month. I've definitely taken more time to build my business. And so I really didn't know in January anything about Elite or Premier qualifications and what that meant for my business or how to get there. So last year at Summit was really the first time that I realized, that it was even like a big thing. Like I just had no idea. And so at Summit, you're halfway through the year. And when I went back and I got home, and when you become a Diamond coach, you start getting Elite emails. So at the end of every month, they'll send you an email with all your points in it. And so I'll go over exactly what those points are and how you earn them. But I will say that I had like 7 points halfway through the year. And to become Elite or Premier, you need 135 points. So in my mind, there's absolutely no way to do it. I felt like I had a lot of catching up to do. So I wanted to, just share with you guys exactly what Elite and Premier are, how you get there, and how just because you are either a coach or an Emerald coach at this point does not mean that you cannot get there. Again, I didn't even start trying until after Summit, and I had the necessary amount of Elite points to qualify. So with that said, it can get a little confusing in here. So feel free to stop me and ask me questions, and we can talk more at the end about exactly what the points mean if you have other questions. So what is Elite? And when I say Elite is like the highest level of this program, and then Premier is right beneath it. So I'll talk about the different qualifications, but overall I'm just going to kind of call it the Elite program. So Elite is a program that really aligns our core coaching engagements. So what are the things that we need to do every single month to move our business forward? So it's pretty simple. We talk about Earning Success Club all the time. So we need to earn Success Club, and then we need to help our personally sponsored coaches earn Success Club. And then the third thing is just enrolling new coaches. So when you're earning Success Club, your personally sponsored coaches are earning Success Club, and you're enrolling new coaches every month. When those 3 things meet, that's really how you're going to start earning your Elite points and how you'll start qualifying as an Elite coach. So those are the kind of 3 main things to keep in mind as we go through. So this year, if you want to qualify as an Elite coach, you have to be a 5-star coach or above by the end of the year, by December 28th. So on the morning of Thursday, December 29th, you need to wake up and look in your coach online office, and it needs to say 5-star qualifying coach. So one other thing that I did not know before becoming a Diamond coach or Star Diamond coach was that when your coaches become Diamond, you go into Diamond qualification. So you are then if you have a coach, you're Diamond, and you have a coach who just became a Diamond coach, you are then 1-star qualified, and you're in that qualification period for 6 weeks. So if on December 28th, you have a coach go Diamond, December 29th, you're only 5-star qualified. You're not a 5-star Diamond coach. So really, you need to count back 6 weeks from December 28th and make sure you have all of your coaches Diamonds and holding that Diamond rank for those 6 weeks. And that can be a whole nother call in terms of, Diamond qualification, all of that. But just something to keep in mind, and something that I didn't really realize was being a 5-star coach means that you're a 5-star qualified coach, which really means the last coach qualified 6 weeks prior. And then you have to advance at least 2 personally sponsored coaches to Diamond within 2016. So all of these coaches who are going elite year after year, it's not because they're just holding 5-star rank. They're actually moving coaches into diamond rank. They're advancing coaches to diamond on their team. So you have to advance at least 2 personally sponsored coaches and then have 3 others. So if I had 3 in 2015, so I need to advance 2 more personally sponsored coaches in 2016 to get my 5-star total and my 2 for 2016. And then earn a total of 135 elite points. And we'll talk about how to earn the points. The only difference for Premier is that you have to be a 2-star or above by December 28th, not a 5-star. And you do have to advance those 2 coaches in 2016, just like you would do with Elite. Also, with the point system, Elite points have a cap on them in the different categories. So you're capped out at 61 points in category 1. Whereas with Premier, there's no caps on the numbers. So last year, I had 135 elite points, but 179 Premier points. And so since I was I was qualifying as a 2-star Premier coach, my Premier points counted, not my elite points. So I wasn't counting down the points, till the end of the year. But those are the main differences in Premier's 2-star, no caps on your points, Elite is 5-star, and there are caps on your points. And there is an FAQ if you guys want to look at it, but I should be covering everything in here, and hopefully it'll be a little easier to understand as we go along. So there are 3 types of elite points. Category 1, you're going to get elite points from Success Club. There's a maximum of 61 points possible. So Success Club is your personally sponsored coaches hitting Success Club and yourself hitting Success Club, and I'll talk about how that's calculated. And then your elite points from your personally sponsored coach's personal volume, or PSPV. So, and that again is capped at 61 points. So your personally sponsored coach's personal volume is all of the volume that your PS coaches create. That includes the things that they're buying and the things that their customers are buying. And then elite advancement team volume, or that's your ATV. And there's a maximum of 40 points possible there. And elite advancement team volume is the one you probably will pay the least amount of attention to in the beginning, because this is going to be your personally sponsored coaches, their personally sponsored coaches, and then a third level down, their personally sponsored coaches. It's going to be all of that volume. You're going to have less control over that. So the majority of coaches get to their 135 points by hitting the maximum for your Success Club points, the maximum for your personally sponsored personal volume points, and then that means you only have to get 13 ATV points. And for me, that's exactly what I did. I hit way over on Success Club, way over on the PSPV, and then hit the minimum ATV, and that was like the very, very last week. But again, because I was qualifying for Premier, I didn't have to stress as much because I could utilize the extra points. There was no max for my Premier points. So this is the most common path. Okay, so when you're looking at the Elite planning guide that I posted, this is the very first category. This is your Elite success points and your Elite goal guide. So what I would suggest is, and what I've done, I went through and filled out my goals for the entire year. So in January, how many coaches do I expect to hit Success Club? So let's look at this. So these are only your personally sponsored coaches, and it's only your personally sponsored coaches in 2015 and 2016. So if you started in 2014, which I started at the very end of 2014, and I have 2 coaches from 2014, if they qualify for Success Club, it does not help me earn Elite Success Club points. Only your 2015 and 2016 coaches. So for every coach that's enrolled in 2015 or 2016 and hits Success Club, you will get 1 Elite Success Club point. And keep in mind that Success Club is not just 5 Success Club points, 10 Success Club points. It is also that they are on home direct order, 90 or 50 PV home direct order. So I know that some people will sign their husbands up and move their home direct order to their husbands. They're not going to qualify for Success Club. So it's just something to keep in mind, that they have to fulfill all the requirements, not just be getting the 5 to 10 Success Club points. So you have these coaches who get you 1 Success Club point. If you also hit Success Club that month, it's going to double your Elite Success Club points. So if you're trying to be an elite coach, I mean, there's like no reason. You should always be hitting Success Club. So that just should be a given. That double should be a given. So when you're looking at planning, say you had 4 coaches hit Success Club, put that number there, multiply it by 2, your monthly total is 8. So when you're planning, for January, look at the coaches that you have now. Who do you expect to hit Success Club? And put that number in January. And then these out months, this should be based on, what is your plan for recruitment of coaches? And what is your plan for recruitment of business building coaches? You should be expecting your business building coaches to be hitting Success Club from month 1. And so that number should increase as you go along. And really the main thing that you want to make sure is that whatever you've planned, that your total is at least 61 Elite Club points, because you want to hit your max here. So this is just a good way to start looking at the number of coaches you need hitting Success Club. And like I said, in April of last year, I hardly had any coaches hitting Success Club. I think maybe like 1 or 2 every month. So I hardly had any points here. So, keep in mind where your team is right now, what your expectations are, but then also what are your expectations through the year? We talk about the compound effect, and the compound effect doesn't happen in week 2 of January. Your compound effect is going to happen in March and April, when you've got all these people joining who are interested and then become coaches. So maybe, in April, that's where you see the big bump. And then when you go to Summit, for me, that was my big bump. That's what changed my business. So these months, maybe these are your big bumps. So be realistic and don't stress yourself out about it. But do start planning and just knowing what you should be aiming for in these months. So category 2, these are your elite personally sponsored personal volume points. Again, there is the elite guide that will show you, this is the wrong photo, but your elite guide has where you're going to enter your PSPV points. So the difference here is that your Elite Success Club points come from 2015 or 2016 PS coaches. Your elite PV points are only 2016 personally sponsored coaches. So if you have not added a new coach in the last 14 days, then you have 0 personally sponsored personal volume points. And that's okay, right? That's okay. Let's talk about how your coaches get PV. So from their personal purchases, everyone should be getting 90 PV from Shakeology, and their purchases from their customers. So if they sold 1 challenge pack and are drinking their Shakeology, you're at 195 PV for that 1 coach. If they're hitting Success Club, then you're at over 500 PV. And really, that's my goal month after month, is to grow my PSPV by 500. But so if we look at this, your monthly total PV, you've got your coaches, different amounts, because they're all getting their 90 PV of Shakeology, but they have selling different challenge packs, different amounts of Shakeology. These will all add up. So these add up to 1,000 PV. You're getting 1 elite point for every 500 PV. So I know it sounds a little confusing, but what you really want to look at is your coach's volume. And I try to look at it as, if my coach is on HD, and how many challenge packs are they selling, right? So if I say 105 plus 90, just round that up to 200 PV for every coach that you think is going to sell at least 1 challenge pack. And then start going from there. So if I know my coaches, they're going to sell one challenge pack, then we're at 200 PV. And then they're going to hit SC5. So they're going to sell another 2 challenge packs. So that's another 100. So 200, 300, 400. So say like this coach number 4 sold 3 challenge packs and they have their Shakeology. So I think that's a good way. Any coach that I say I've put down for Success Club 5 in category 1, I'm going to estimate them at about 400 PV for my PV points. So whoever hits Success Club 5, add those up, and that's how you can estimate your elite points for PSPV. So, and you guys, I promise, at the end, we can definitely ask questions. We can go back or interrupt me too, please. So here's your planning, your worksheet, and your elite goal guide. So this is also where you're going to be planning how many new coaches you think you're getting in January, February, March, and really how many of those are business builders. For me, I'm not putting my discount coaches in here because they're not getting me a ton of personal volume. Their 90 PV is great to have, added on here or there, but my planning is all going to focus on my business building coaches. So if it's my goal to get 3 new business building coaches in January, and I'm estimating 500 PV for them, which really, if you think about that, that's low. Because if you're expecting your coaches on month 1 to go out and hit success starters, then they should be at about 400 PV each. But for the purpose of this planning, your coaches, you want to increase your PV by 500 month after month. And the nice thing about this is that it really does build. So you enroll 3 coaches in January who have 500 PV, 3 more coaches in February, 500 PV. You're automatically getting to that 1,000 PV. And you're going to be increasing your elite points month after month. So it really pays to, the earlier you're able to build your team and start that momentum that adds up, the better you're going to be in terms of PSPV points. But I will say again, I did not start building a really what I consider a business building strong foundation of a team until after Summit is really when I felt like I gained a lot of momentum. And so that was this summer. And I was still able to go over the maximum PSPV points. So don't freak yourself out if you're thinking I'm so far behind, because it can happen very quickly. And like I said, I think these numbers are low. 500 PV should really be from one business building coach who's truly all in working the business. So you can make it happen. So here's just the example written out. You're increasing 500 PV every single month. You're at 78, and elite, you can only have 61. So again, you have time to build these numbers and to really build your team. But the focus for this elite program is on building a strong business building team, not building a strong discount team, because those discount coaches are not going to get you the volume you need. So I think that's really the important part of the whole elite program, is that it's truly about building a business of people who are working the business. And it's also the way, you're going to make sure you're increasing your income, which I think is why, I know we're all in here to help people. We're also working a lot of hours. And this is one way to make sure you're hitting goals that are going to help increase your income as well. Okay, category 3, elite ATV points, accumulated team volume points, or advanced team volume points. This is the one I would pay the least amount of attention to. You have really the least control over this. I would not even start looking at this until this summer. So when you should definitely go in and do your calculations so you have that goal in mind, you know where you need to be. Category 1 and category 2, I'm checking in on monthly. Weekly I'm checking on who's hitting Success Club, who's close to hitting Success Club. So those you want to be checking in on, filling out, updating as you go through the year. Did I hit my goal last month? This one I wouldn't look at as much. So This is, you earn 1 elite point for every 10,000 incremental ATV points earned in 2016 compared to what you earned in 2015. So what does that mean? ATV is the total accumulated PV each year from the first 3 lines of sponsorship on your team. So if you think of this in terms of a family, there's you, your personally sponsored coaches are your kids, and then it's their coaches, which in a family would be like your grandkids, and then their coaches, which would be like your great-grandkids. So again, this goes back to building a really strong business. You want business builders who are then building their own business builders, who are then building their own business builders, because all of that volume is going to add up to your ATV. The important thing to remember, and I think what amazes me most about the coaches who are elite year after year, or who are in the top 10 year after year, is that you are earning elite ATV points starting from where you ended the previous year. So this is one thing that really helped me. My 2014, when I started the end of October. So I had 2 months of ATV in 2014. I had like 1,000. I mean, I had hardly any volume, but that was great because that meant in 2015, I really kind of was starting from the beginning. But these coaches like Lindsay Matway and Melanie Mitro, they have to take all the volume that they made in 2015 and start from there. So all of them continue to build volume. So to find your 2015 ATV volume in your coach online office, there's an elite report. And again, that is what was sent to me when I became a diamond coach. So I'm not sure if you can even find your previous year's ATV until you are a diamond coach. But you check your online office. It would be under qualifications, like under where Success Club qualifications are, where you would go to check like how many months you've hit Success Club. It's under there, and it would just say elite qualification. If you can't find it, you can always email the Beachbody customer service line, and they will tell you what your last year ATV is. So what you want to do is take your 2016 ATV total, whatever your goal is, minus your 2015, whatever you had last year, divide that difference by 10,000, and that's going to get you your ATV elite points. So I'll go in the next slide's a little more detail about that. But again, this is just, I would shoot for 61 Elite Success Club points, 61 PSPV points, and then only 13 Elite ATV points. Those 13 points you get by 10,000 in volume. So every 10,000 in volume that you create ATV, so that your 3 downlines create, is going to give you 1 elite point. So that's like a little crazy to think about. And again, really hard to even measure because there's so many downlines. And so you're not really going to see it until you start getting your elite reports. But every 10,000 increase in ATV will produce 1 elite point. So if you are starting from just say 0 and you want to get those 13 elite points, 13 times that 10,000 volume is 130,000 ATV.
Wait, Holly.
Yes.
A question. If we're doing well in categories 1 and 2,
yep,
safe to assume that we'll get that at least 13. And well, for me, when you're starting out, if your volume last year is nothing and you get all these new coaches this month, I feel like those 13 are inevitable.
Yes. So for me, not really starting to build until July, I literally just hit those 13 points. For you, who you're in a much better position than I was, you have your business builders, you're going to get those 13 elite ATV points. Okay. And that's why, again, I wouldn't even look at it until like summer, because you'll have a better feel for where you are at that point. And for people who aren't very comfortable in building their teams, like it's kind of pointless to look at it anyway. But yeah, I think you're in a good place because you kind of built that base of challengers, built your business, built the trust, and now you're really seeing the fruits of your labor in terms of building now. So I would keep an eye on it, but I think you should be fine. And that's the same thing. I think really like deciding to hit elite that first year is almost like the easiest time to hit elite, you know, because we're not fighting against how well you did the previous year.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's not easy, but it's easier. And so that's why I wanted to kind of do this call to tell people like, go for it. You know, like there's absolutely nothing to lose. So yeah. Okay. So this is just what the worksheet looks like. What you want to do is 2015 into your ATV, figure out what that into your ATV is, put it up there. To get your 13 points, you want to have that 130,000. This is obviously just those two added together. So it just lets you know what your end of your goal should be. So again, this is more just like a visualization. When you start getting your elite reports, you can see where you are in comparison to where you think you need to be. Because I had no idea literally like all year, like what I was even looking at for ATV. I was like, well, I'm getting more ATV points. This is great. So it just at least gives you a number to kind of look at and compare against. But again, this is the one I'd worry the least about because you have the least amount of control over it. And if your coaches are hitting Success Club and, you know, getting that personal volume, then this is all going to come. I mean, really, this business we talk about all the time, it just goes back to hitting Success Club. And when you're hitting Success Club and your coaches are hitting Success Club, all of this is going to happen naturally. So don't like overthink this kind of crazy category. Yeah, so this is it. So this is the fine, you know, this is the elite goal guide. They give you examples on the first page. The second page is for you to fill out. So I went through, I filled mine out with my goal, you know, what do I need to do this year? And then I printed a blank one so that each month I can fill in exactly how I did compared to my goals. So I use this to help set my monthly goals, set my personal Success Club goals, set my coach Success Club goals, and to set my coach recruitment goals. And there are coaches, I know there are a couple coaches that like hit elite this summer because like you said, Jamie, I mean, they had been building that momentum and then January, February, March is really when their business took off as opposed to like mine, which was later in the summer. So this could be you know, you could hit elite very early in the year, especially if you have coaches, you know, if you have 5-star, 5 new diamond coaches, you're set. The other thing is there are multipliers. If you advance like 4 diamond coaches in a year, then it's multiplied by like your ATV points are multiplied by 10%. If you advance like 6 or more diamond coaches, they're multiplied by 20%. So for those coaches, I think that's helpful for like the Lindsay Matways and Melanie Mitros who are 15 coaches and having, you know, getting that extra ATV is harder for them. That's helpful. But that's kind of extra. That's all in the FAQs. But really the basics are getting your personally sponsored coaches to Success Club and then making sure that your personally sponsored coaches are actually working the business because that's all that PSPV is. And so if they're hitting Success Club, they're going to be getting, you know, you're going to be getting the PSPV. So I know that was like a lot, like kind of thrown at you. So let me, you know, what questions do you guys have? How can is there anything I can kind of break down more for you guys or anything you guys have to add?
I think especially, hey, Holly, thank you for doing this first.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this. And I tried to get all my coaches onto your call as quickly as possible for my call. So sorry if we all interrupted jumping in.
Oh, no.
But for like the newer people, I think the most important thing is to keep it simple, you know, focus on the Success Club. I know it's like repetitive and in every leadership spotlight that you guys saw and the one I'm doing next week, it's all going to be the same stuff. Success Club, 3 vital behaviors. If you keep it simple and you conquer those little things, the big things will come. I really feel that and I believe that. I mean, is there anything like to add to that? I mean, really, I mean, like you said today, and I said it on my team call as well, that Success Club 5 is not a goal. That's not a goal that you should even have. It's like breathing. It's a non-negotiable. That's something that should just happen. A goal is 20, like Holly said today. A Success Club goal is 30. For me, I tell my coaches 15 is your goal. That's what you work for, you try to achieve. So if you do have a horrible, worst month ever, you land on Success Club 5. And take your mindset that way, and everything else will come. It's amazing if you guys listen to the stories and write your stories and find out that everybody, I mean, Dara, she's above all of us, and she started 2 years ago, right, Holly? 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years ago, and she's at where she's at because every day she puts in that, at a minimum, that 1 hour. And you got to do it. What's more important? What's the most important thing that you guys want? Every single one of us, and I told Holly the other day that we should all be in the top 10 should all be from the All-Star Dynasty, because every single one of us, from on Holly's team, on Dara's team, on my team, you guys all have it in your heart. I see it. I see it in all of you. You guys can do it. And, I'm proud of all you guys. We're all family. I know there's teams, and we all want to build our own teams, but we're all a family. I always talk about that, and it's super important. And Jacob just wanted to say hi. And he can't wait to meet his cousin from the Holly family.
So cute. He's been a really good meeting member. He's been very quiet.
He's a very good meeting member, right?
No. Oh, so cute.
All right, sorry. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Just keep it simple, especially if you're a newer coach. Don't get all caught up in all the crazy stuff. Work the simple stuff, and you guys got it. You guys will get there. And, I have no doubt in my mind that you'll all succeed, especially with Holly as your leader.
Yeah, I agree with Moose. I mean, I didn't even know what Elite was until over halfway through the year, and all I did was focus on Success Club. So, yeah. Any other questions, comments? All right. I mean, yeah, you guys can do this. It's not that hard. We can all do this. My goal is Elite next year. I'll put it out there, and I think my goal, well, if it's up to Moose, my goal is top 10, which would be incredible. But my goal is top 50 next year. So
what is it right now?
They do not tell you what you finished the year at. I did email them. So I know that the 200th coach on the Elite report had like 171 total points. And I was like in like the 160s. So we were between like 200 and 300. So I'm happy with that. I wanted to finish in like the two. Well, I had no goal at the beginning of this year. And that's what I think is so crazy is like we all start thinking like, I had no goal to be like, oh, I'm going to be top 200. Like that seemed ridiculous. And all I did every single month was hit Success Club. And then to finish like near the top 200 is incredible. And every one of us can do that because you just hit Success Club. That's it. Just like Moose said.
I agree with what you said on that. It's like a physics class I took. I was like, I didn't even know what questions to ask. I didn't even know what they were teaching, and it's the same thing with the goals. Like some of these goals that are like, oh, you did this and you did that. You'll get them if you do the basics. You just rock solid, hit those basics every day, and not just do them, but not just download information all the time. Upload, pour into the people on your team and the new coaches that keep coming in. Nope, don't do it. We don't cry. You gotta do push-ups. If you cry, you gotta do it.
Yeah, and I will say one thing. I'm gonna tomorrow's leadership spotlight. I'm gonna talk about faking it till you make it because I think that's like super important and something that I totally did. No one's like, oh, you're like this great successful coach and you have your own team. I started my own team with 4 coaches. I had 4 coaches. And one of them was my husband. And like Jamie was on my team calls when it was like me and Jamie and one other person. But like I had a team name and like a team logo and a team website. And like it was all out there on Facebook. And like just like, do not be shy. Like be proud of what you're doing. And that's a big part of it too. I mean, you guys are awesome and you're helping people, and that's our job. We're doing the exact same thing the top coaches are doing. So just believe in yourself and believe in your teams, because I think that was really helpful. If you don't believe in yourself, how are you going to get other coaches to join you? So, all right, guys. Well, thank you. And if you guys think of other questions, message me, email me. I'll post the recording, and I'll post the slides if you guys want to kind of go back through and like look at them again, because I know, it's a lot to be thrown at you at once. So you can go back through, digest them, and ask me more questions. So, awesome. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you.
All right.